on YouTube here. And yeah, that'll be enough to go. YouTube here. And okay, good. We have a screen share. That is good. All right. So if you're joining us for the very first time, welcome. I'm glad that you are here. Welcome to Albert's List. Welcome to our little universe. If this is your not first time here, welcome back. I appreciate your loyalty once and always. You are what keeps me going because when you show up, you tell me that this is worth doing. So thank you so much. And if you are here, this is also a networking opportunity. So I also encourage all of you to say hello to one another in the chat here. I encourage you to share your LinkedIn, tell us where you're dialing in from. It's always good to have that part going too, because it shows just how much everybody is engaged here, and we are a community. So um, let's keep it that way, and let's keep it rolling and keep it running. I'm gonna get started about 3 minutes into the hour here. I do want to do a ChatGPT demo for your job search midway through. Because I think one of the important things that I discovered last week during our career transition conference is that it's important to not only get your job search going, but also to do it quickly. And if you're willing to type in the chat, I'd love to know how long it's taken you to prepare for your job search. We were hearing 1 to 3 months last week, and I mean that's a little bit disturbing. But you know what? We will work around it and we will figure it out because I think it's important for us to do that. So let's figure that part out. Got a couple people watching on YouTube here. Welcome there. If you're coming in from Facebook, welcome here as well. It's gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit of a lighter crowd today, but we're hoping to run this webinar again sometime next month as we head into the fall hiring season. Okay, so 1 month. All right, so I want you all to think about something that, yes, some people do have a mental block, Fontella. I want you to think about what if I could help you reduce that time frame from 1 month to 45 minutes. And we'll condense it down even further from 45 minutes to 20 minutes for the sake of this webinar. So, um, yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, that's true. Fontella, you are a seasoned job seeker, so 2 weeks makes sense for somebody at your level. Absolutely. All right, we have a couple more people coming in here. I think we'll probably top out at 30 to 40 today, which is just fine with me. It's the middle of July. Um, here on vacation. I don't blame you. Um, I'm going to go ahead and put out the state of the economy here. 50% are negative, 47% are neutral, 3% are positive. I had said something actually at the beginning of this stream, and it was when it comes to job seekers are geniuses because one thing I noticed about um, job seeker sentiment, because every time all of you uh, look into this, you're able to answer. And yes, Mark, I do see it. Good to see you, Mark, on the YouTube stream, The Artifact of Networking. They just did a networking event last night, and they'll be having another one for August. So if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, I highly encourage you to attend. Um, but yes, you job seekers are geniuses because you can see where the economy is going before anybody else does. At the beginning of the year, it showed that job seeker sentiment was really high. All of you were very, very optimistic about where the market was going. Oh, well, thank you, Fontella. You are way, way too kind. And um, job seeker sentiment fell well ahead of Liberation Day 1.0, which is Trump's tariff strategy back in the day. And I know it seems like a long time ago. And it also recovered a lot quicker beforehand too. So it's really interesting to see how that has evolved month to month, week to week. So anyways, I thought I'd share that. I'm probably going to create a report out of that and it'll be really interesting to show and see. But in any case, we are here at 5:06 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and hit record to the and I'm going to welcome you all, and you're here today for how to land a job for the remainder of 2025. Hard to believe it, but we are already on the other side of 2025. We are closer to Christmas than we are to New Year's. We are also closer to the year 2050 than we are to the year 2000. Or actually, yes, we are also closer to the year 2050 than we are to the year 2000 at this point, since we are 25 years and change out of the year 2000, and we are, I think, closer to the year 2050 than we are to the year 1950. Anyways, for those doing math at home, it's just something to blow your mind and think about, and we'll start with that as we go through it today. All right, so who am I? So my name is Albert. I am the founder of Albert's List. You are here for how to land a job for the remainder of 2025. I'm a San Francisco Bay Area born and raised job search entrepreneur. I'm a product marketing manager for my 9 to 5 job. I've also worked in the HR technology space. And I'm the founder of Albert's List, which is a community of 50,000 members on Facebook where we connect job seekers, hiring managers, job opportunities, and there's also networking and advice that's there as well. And I encourage you to all join us at bit.ly/find your next job, or just point your phone at the QR code on the screen and it should be able to take you there. Um, and while we're at it, this is also one of our networking opportunities here. So if you are here and you're in the webinar chat and you're one of the attendees and you have your keyboard available to you, I encourage you to put down your LinkedIn, tell us where you're dialing in from, tell us how we can help you. We're all about helping you here. We are business and we do make money, but we also want to provide opportunities and places and spaces for people to be successful where you don't have to pay any money at all because we're all in different parts of our career. Our agenda today is this. So we're going to talk about the state of the job market. We're going to talk about some of these job market updates. We're going to go through some of the predictions that we started with at the beginning of the year, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what you should consider when you do the job, when you go through the job market. We're going to help you take action, and then we're going to do a Chat GPT AI demo with time towards the end. I would like to spend the remaining 20 minutes if I can going through this. So if you do want to come back to this later, it will be at this particular YouTube link where you can stream it live and see how things are going at that level, and we can go from there. Yes, so if you did not see the QR code, here you go. So feel free to join up that way. or feel free to subscribe at our YouTube channel and we can go from there. All right, so our goals for today's webinar is to provide a 50,000 foot view of the job market and then zoom a little bit and talk a little about that job search strategy. Then I want to leave you empowered to embark on your job search and also give you some resources along the way so that you can feel like you took something away, right? I'm going to at least give you a ChatGPT demo of how you can start your job search and strategize your job search. So even if budget and finances are tight, there's still a way for you to be successful and look for some meaning from today's webinar. If that sounds good, hit thumbs up, hit the heart button. I'd love to know that I'm resonating with everybody going on today. All right, so the first section is we're going to talk about the state of the job market. This is one that we do on every single one of these webinars. If you've been to one of these before, you know what you're about to expect. If you're here for the very first time, welcome. We're going to really just go through a lot of these sobering and sad and interesting truths that are going to be very fascinating or maybe just very disturbing as you go through as we see how things evolve. The first thing I like to put up on the screen is our layoffs, and in particular tech layoffs, because we are in the tech-heavy Silicon Valley. But of course, if you are in any other industry, we don't want to ignore you either. But basically, since January 2024, and really coming into some point this year, layoffs have been on the downward lurch, right? We've heard over the last couple of years how many companies are investing in AI, how companies are really like trying to transition what they're doing, and layoffs have really slowed down significantly. Of course, we're still seeing some major layoffs, like Microsoft letting go of 6 to 9,000 people. We know that Intel is about to lay off 20,000. And for those of you who work in government, I haven't forgotten about you. I do know too that the government is laying off significantly as well after the Supreme Court gave permission to do so on that front. The other thing that's also coming up on the top of all of our minds again, and this just seems to be the thing that keeps on going, where it'll just keep hitting us until maybe President Trump decides not to, is the mention of tariffs. And we all know that tariffs are huge, right? Because they are taxes, or at least I like to call them taxes on consumers, because we're charging countries to more money to import their goods to us. And so as we go through this entire experience, this is directly connected to your job search because tariffs raise prices, and prices are reflected in the inflation report. And as inflation rises, credit is more difficult to obtain. And credit is what a lot of companies use in order to in order to grow, whether it's investing in new areas, hiring people, or expansion. And so, if companies do not feel encouraged because inflation is high and the cost of borrowing money and buying money is expensive, it makes everything a whole lot more restrictive. And so, going along with that is what we're seeing with the government, right? And this literally just happened yesterday. The Supreme Court deemed that mass layoffs can occur at the education department. We've also seen some layoffs going on at Health and Human Services and other places. And you know, these job losses are impactful for various different areas around the country, notably in the DC area, but also going into suburban Maryland, New York, and all the way out through here to the West Coast. And so you might be saying, Albert, why does any of this stuff matter? Um, I don't work for the government. I can afford my groceries. I can afford my goods so far. And the unfortunate thing about it is that as unemployment remains somewhat low, and I don't fully believe this number, and we can talk about that, as inflation remains stubbornly high and unemployment goes up, and inflation also goes up, it triggers a fear of stagflation, which is stagnant employment and high inflation, which means that you have a lot of people who will be out of work, and you will have a lot of people, and you have a lot of goods that will remain super, super expensive along the way. And so this is bad because it really squeezes middle class and working poor and people who are unemployed who can't afford anything because they're trying to save their money and trying to make their way through until they get their next job. And so it's not great. It's not wonderful, but this might be the future that we are looking at as we move forward. And so the next thing that we're also looking at here is what we see with the unemployment rate. Unemployment dropped to 4.2%. Monthly job creation was 147,000 in the US last month. And there's a couple of things that are always important to note when it comes to the unemployment rate. Is that number one, unemployment is reflective of those who are collecting unemployment benefits. So if you're somebody who has not had a job in 25 months and unemployment runs out in 6 months, you are not part of the unemployment rate. You might be part of the U6, which covers everybody who is unemployed. But even then, that number I think is at 7.8% and is fairly low. So take this number with a grain of salt. The economy might be a lot worse than we're considering it to be. And so, let's consider all of that in the grand scheme of things. Um, Job creation continues to be strangely consistent. And so, it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the next couple of months as well. If you have any questions, please use the chat or please use the Q&A function. We are in webinar mode, so I will not be taking your questions or allowing you to speak. Only I will be allowed to speak. So yeah, that's where this other thing comes in. Year-on-year inflation was 2.7%, which means that prices over the last year have risen 2.7%, and prices over the last month have risen 0.3%. The thing about inflation that we keep on figuring out is that just because inflation goes down doesn't mean that everything is getting cheaper. Well, if you really want inflation and things to become cheaper, you want a little bit of deflation. 2.7% inflation is lower than, the 8% that we saw in the middle of July 2022. But what it really truly means is that things are getting more expensive, but at a much slower rate. And so that's one thing to consider as well. AI is also taking over. So we have mass layoffs at companies like Microsoft, Intel, Salesforce, IBM, smaller companies. We're seeing the rise of startups that are run by one person. Vibe coding is here, and all of these things are just very much things to watch. I'll do a story here for a moment. I had a friend who reached out to me the other day, and she was a senior operations manager at Salesforce. And Salesforce laid her off about 7 to 8 months ago. And when they laid her off, they told her that her job was redundant because AI could now do it. And now she was out of a job. And so these conversations are very real. And, I think in some sense they probably also feel very offending because you're literally being replaced by a machine and somebody who can prompt your job. So one thing to consider as you go into your job search or as you continue your job search is to think through what it truly means to do the work that you do and whether it can be automated by anybody or whether it's something that remains to be seen. But either way, AI is here. A lot of companies are experimenting with it. A lot of investment is being made. And so let's take into account what that truly means as we head into these next couple of months. So forward forecast, what does it look like, right? I like to give these predictions too. Um, and if you had asked me 6 months ago, I said it might be okay. If you had asked me 3 months ago, I said, maybe, who knows? And, I think the way that I see things right now is it's going to get really tight. We have a lot of downward pressure from tariffs, resumed federal government layoffs, AI. And while the market has rebounded, while your 401k might look great, the overall day-to-day spending that you're gonna do is gonna be in a place that's really, really tough. So I mentioned stagflation earlier, and I'm gonna make a somewhat bold prediction that something is going to collapse by the end of the year, whether it's just our debt load as a country, whether it is the fact that you have way too many unemployed people, or whether just loosening a regulation leads to something. It's going to be interesting. So, if we've come up this far and your job and you know that your job search has been a struggle, I want you to know that it's not you, right? There's a lot of different things going on right now. And so we're going to talk a little bit in the moment, in the section after this next one, about how you can make your way around it and how you can use AI to get yourself closer to where you want to be as well. And so we made a bunch of 2025 predictions at the beginning of the year. And, we're at a point now where I want to talk about where we stand with those predictions because it's a very interesting place to be. And we're at a spot where we can start declaring whether some of these predictions have been fulfilled or not. But the high level of it is this, that political downwinds matter, but I'm going to try my best to not get political. It's hard to do that in this day and age because everything seems to be so interconnected and everybody wants to turn everything else into a culture war. But that's just how it is. Um, I used to say that change probably takes a while to happen and it'll show up when you least expect. We have a president here and an executive that is moving very quickly and doing a lot of things quickly to get what they want. And so they are moving fast and that things are starting to change along the way. And I know there might be some of you who are US based, but there will be downstream impact in terms of how the US acts. And so it may apply here, it may not, but eventually it'll make its way over to you. And so here are some of the predictions that we made earlier this year. Number one was that tech jobs start to come back. My prediction for that is where it's correct is that in AI, yes, but in elsewhere we continue to struggle. Industry shifts reflect new priorities. This was definitely going to happen, and as we saw with the one big beautiful bill that passed earlier this month, electric vehicles are on their way out. You're not going to see any more of these tax credits, but cryptocurrency, AI are all things that are very much in, and that's why we keep talking about AI because AI investment is just going to keep continuing to happen. Regulations are loosened around AI, leading to growth. There was no AI regulation in the One Big Beautiful Bill. There was that piece about banning regulation for 10 years in exchange for being able to build data centers in the state. That was taken out. But one thing that is really hot this year is agentic AI. And so that continues to grow as the market moves forward. Number four is that localism reigns supreme as tariffs upend markets. This is absolutely happening right now. Um, Tariffs are here. Tariffs are causing chaos, and it's not very fun for any of us. State government jobs becomes competitive as the federal apparatus shrinks. This is definitely happening right now. Even though the presidential administration has spent a lot more money, they're also laying off a lot of people. And so the Department of Education may cease to exist soon enough. We're seeing layoffs in other places. USAID has now been folded into the Department of State, and the Department of State has also seen a lot of layoffs as well. So there's a lot of government talent that's on the street right now, and it is a crazy time. What else? Labor issues favor companies led by tax cuts and working reform. I'm going to say that this is done. The one big beautiful bill has passed. And there are things that do benefit workers there at some ends. So Section 174 has been extended, which means that software companies can now write off the cost of an engineer in year one versus over 4 years. Major tax cuts have also been extended or expanded for homeowners and businesses. And labor laws, of course, have been skirted along the way as government layoffs happen. So it's a mixed bag for everybody. Another one is that the immigration debate finds a voice as reform takes center stage. And so this is somewhat true. I think you're seeing a lot of things right now on the undocumented immigrant level where you're seeing ICE hold a lot of raids at farms. I haven't seen as much go on with H-1Bs, and so that's going to take its time. The next one is strategic roles take precedence as commoditized jobs fall to AI. This is absolutely happening. We're continuing to see companies outsource their jobs abroad, especially for those jobs that are expensive and in the San Francisco Bay Area. So we need to continue watching out for that. And companies continue to search for their unicorn. They're absolutely doing that. You see very long job searches, homework. You see a lot of people who are getting ghosted. You're seeing ghost jobs as well as companies try to continue getting funding for having openings. And so it keeps going. So with all that said, right, there's a lot going on. It's a crazy world out there right now, and that changes a lot about the job market as we go forth here. And so the next couple of slides that we're going to talk about is the job search strategy. What is localism? Localism is local. policy and local business versus national government, national policy. So when we look at that, that's really examining things like local jobs, uh, local government jobs, state jobs, taking precedence um, over, let's say, jobs in Washington, D.C. So you're going to see an expansion probably in places like the California Department of Education or the California Secretary of State's office as more of these jobs on the national level get cut and states decide to do what they want to do so that they feel like they can be continuing to serve their constituents. So we're seeing a lot of transition of those funds and that type of money. So, in understanding what's ahead, there's a couple of considerations to make. Number one, it's still the toughest job market since 2008. And, I'd still say, right, it's becoming even more difficult because as more people go out onto the unemployment lines, there's going to be more competition than ever. Some industries are still doing better than others. If you're in tech, analytics, AI, cloud computing, are still the places to be because that's where all the money is funneling into right now. And so it's important not to be hard on yourself, but it's also important to be fair. And it's important also right now that you're incredibly resourceful. Looking for opportunities in unlikely places is going to be the way to go, whether it's working for an old friend, starting your own business, and using a lot of AI. And so getting really creative with your background is going to help you out a lot. We may not see interest rates go down for a while. And so that just means that we're going to see more delays in hiring or investment or people willing to go into the market and doing what they need or doing what they want to do so that they can expand their businesses. You're probably going to see a lot of companies that are not in the Magnificent Seven or these AI companies or these FANG companies expanding too much. And so that's going to leave a lot of people stranded out in the cold in the interim. And so what are some of these steps, right? So I used to have 10 steps. I've simplified it down to 7 because I really want to just, make it a little bit clearer. But it's to understand that the strategies have changed. So learning AI, being first to a job listing, networking, and acknowledging your own struggle are all part of really just understanding how the market has changed. You have to learn new skills. You have to pick up AI. You have to be first to that job listing and you have to turn that job search into a habit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Along the way, it's important to filter to what you want. So whether you're looking for that job or whether you're looking for that person, you want to be able to filter through your LinkedIn profile. And AI can help you with this too and help you understand who you want to maybe network with or talk to. But basically, it's focusing on what it is that your warm leads are and your warm contacts may be. You want to be in that space where you're talking to people who know you and whom you know. Because we're in a world right now where there's so many job applications coming through, and so standing out is incredibly key. Step two is a theme that you're going to hear a lot through this whole one, which is to invest in yourself. We all have to navigate imposter syndrome. But the other thing is that we have no choice but to find ways to move forward. And so whether it's starting your new side hustle or main hustle project as a consultant, going to the right networking events, or paying for AI, it's all going to make a difference. And so I know ChatGPT, it's 20 bucks a month, so is Gemini. Those dollars are going to make a huge difference as you go through your job search. And so I encourage you to use those as necessary. Step number three is to build your own personal brand. So it's not about who knows you or what you know, who you know or what you know, but who knows you. And so this is something that AI can help you out a lot with because not only can you synthesize your professional background, you can also figure out how to create content on the daily that will help you stand out and help you be somebody that people are going to pay attention to. So, you know, and the other thing is to focus on what works. Right now, a lot of people want to transition careers, perhaps potentially into something new. I know I've put together webinars this year on whether it's time to quit tech and go into something new. And I would say that it is highly dependent on that industry. Now, of course, if you want to go into the trades and you're young and you want to, be a carpenter or somebody who works on air conditioning, then I definitely think that there's opportunity for you there. Otherwise, it may be time to stay put or look for very, very direct, similar opportunities to figure out where you want to go next. Step number four is to tell the story that you want heard. And so this is all about your personal brand, but it's also about your ability to interview and your ability to build a resume. And so the one thing that I think stands out a lot during these times when the job search is difficult is that if you are going to be out there and be in the world, that you want to have a resume and you want to have a LinkedIn profile that tells the story that you want to tell. Too many people go into interviews and they're not really sure who they are, and they're hoping that someone will choose it for them. And unfortunately, in a world where people don't have time already, they're not going to choose it for you. And so I encourage you to figure out what it is that your special sauce is, what it is that you stand for, and what helps you stand out among the crowd. Um, and so the first thing is your resume, right? And so this is a resume that I've used that's gotten me 35 job offers over the last 5 job searches. And so what it should really do, it should tell a story. You start by introducing yourself, sharing the highlights of your career in the summary section, explain how you've gotten those highlights through the skills that you've built, go into detail, and then share your education and certifications at the bottom. And so for those of you who might want a copy of this resume in templated format, this is a free download that I have here off of our Gumroad page. So this is where you can just get the resume directly, and you can have it for free on me. And if you have any questions, please contact me. I am happy to answer those questions so that you can get the help that you want. Um, let me see. Okay. I will go ahead and pull this up. Um, Here you go. All right, cool. So hopefully you can access that and to go ahead and download it. I'm going to just go ahead and stay on this page for 5 more seconds so you can point your phone at it and and do the downloading, or at least put the page on your side if you'd like. All right, cool. So the next thing to think about is to understand what's at stake in the job search. We also go into job searches thinking about what's in it for us. It's easy because we want money, we want to get paid, but it's also not so easy because we want to be able to sell ourselves to companies that are looking to hire. And so it's important for us to understand what's at stake for not only ourselves, but the industries that we work in, the company that we're working for, our colleagues, our boss, and our customers. And each of these plays a significant role in the company that you work at and in your career because you're doing something to serve each and every one of these audiences. Your customers care about the product that you're selling them and the customer service that they're getting. Your boss cares that you make them look really good, and they in turn can help you look really good in front of your leadership. Your colleagues are people that you'll be working with directly, and so they want to know whether they can work with you or not. Your company, they are hiring you because they're looking to grow, innovate, or save money or save cash somewhere, and they're looking for someone who can identify those saving areas. And then how you relate to your industry is also important because the industry is constantly changing. Maybe it's growing, maybe it's contracting, but what you need to do is figure out your role and your company's role in all of that so that you can make an impact. And so, as you understand all of these things, your resume, what's at stake, we also move into the interview phase. And so, the interviewing phase is interesting because, the way that we see it here at Albert's List is that a job interview is is that the job interview is two things. It is how much you reduce risk within your interview process, and it is how much excitement that you build with the people that you interview with. And so every single question that you are asked during an interview is an intentional question. And that's what this whole entire table seeks to analyze. right? Is that you're going to be asked fact-based questions that are going to be like, what do you know about us? Or can you tell us about a company that does the type of work that you do really well? And what they want to know is that they want to know that you've done the research and that you know exactly what you're worth and what you want. You shouldn't say that you don't know anything or make something up along the way. There's also situational questions, which for me, along with hypothetical questions, tend to make or break the interview. Situational questions ask you to describe a time where something happened because companies want to know whether your past success or past failure are lessons that you've learned along the way. And so they want to know whether you have self-awareness, whether you've learned your lessons, and they want to know your process and thinking style. And they don't want you to stop at a point where you're just asking more questions or where you're making them ask you more questions and having them dig into, having them dig into your past. If you have them dig into your past, what we like to call that is just avenues of concern, where they're going to ask you more and more follow-up questions that might uncover something that you don't want them to know. In addition to the situational, there's also the hypothetical. So, how would you manage this product or client? And again, here they want to know your thinking process and your style, and they want you to align with the company and how the company does their work. And so, you don't want to sound messy here. You don't want them to ask follow-ups because you're vague and have them dig through something. And then the next bit are personality questions. So, what is your favorite movie? Or if you were a chocolate bar, what would you be? And what they're trying to figure out here is whether you can think on your feet and be creative. They don't want you to be unmemorable. They want you to be able to give an answer that, when given, they can think about it after the interview is over and really come back to you. And so, can you be creative? Can you think on your feet? And these are all questions that you should prepare and questions that you should have on a sheet somewhere so that you can really showcase what it is that you know. Other questions include the bold questions, like why would we regret not hiring you? They want to hear your confidence. They want to know, they want another memorable answer. What would a previous boss say about you? That could also be tricky too, because you might want to say something negative even though you don't mean to. So you need to be confident in those answers as well. And then finally, at the very end of the interview, they might ask you, do you have any questions for us? And so you need to be intrigued and curious about the job and be able to be willing to ask tough questions. And the last thing you should do at an interview is not have any questions at all. All right, so that's step four. Step five is to turn job hunting into a habit. The net of this is basically to just keep going until you get a job and you get your first paycheck. And, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's important to be flexible, but it's also important to be consistent. Be job hunting, be networking, be writing every single day. And it's okay to take contracts. If you have a 6-month contract, it is what it is, right? You're still getting paid, you're still building experience, and it gives you a chance to really showcase that you know what you're doing. And along the way, help others as well, right? So this is also another call to action for me. If you're joining this webinar again and you're here for the very first time or for the 50th time, welcome. And I encourage you to share your LinkedIn in the webinar chat. I encourage you to let us know where you're dialing in from and how it is that we can help you. Yep, exactly. Step six is to understand that it's really hard. It's a really unfriendly economy out there with tough competition. And if you need to take a break where, you break your consistency for a little bit, do so and then come back. And know that at some point here, and I really wish I could prognosticate when, know that it will improve. But what you do now during these tough times, it's what matters. When you build the connections, when you build the skills, you're going to come back stronger. Number seven is to borrow AI for help, where you can use like the free version of Claude or ChatGPT, or where you can build a custom GPT like I've done myself, and you can use it as a job search strategy tool. And so I'm going to show you that here at the very end once I've gone through everything, and we're going to walk through how that looks. Here are some of the AI tools. Chat.openai.com or Claude.ai are there. And so those are all there for you to help you. And I'm going to demo all of this shortly once I get through everything. And so what do you do once you've been hired? Number one is that it's not the time to rest, but rather the time to keep going and figure out how you're going to succeed. How are you going to get that new promotion? How are you going to get those new skill sets? Set those goals and hit them, right? It's not the time to sit back as much as, maybe you've been exhausted by your job search, as much as maybe you feel safe now. It is important for you to go and keep going so that you can have that level of momentum. And it's also important to keep in mind that a job is rarely forever and to just write down your accomplishments as you go along. Stay in touch with your old recruiters and those that you network with, including those that you meet here, and you'll be well on your way to being prepared the next time you might be surprised with a job loss. And so the next thing I want to talk about is taking action, right? So here at Albert's List, we don't just do webinars like this. We're also focused on webinars where you can learn a little bit about everything. So for example, tomorrow we have a webinar focused on LinkedIn. So if you haven't signed up for that one yet, I encourage you to figure out how you can use LinkedIn to network and to be somebody who can find connections and jobs using that method. If you are somebody who is looking to do a mock interview, to partake in a mock interview and wants to see how a mock interview is done through Albert's List, we also have one next Tuesday that is also going to be really helpful for you as well. And so those are some of the things that are coming on deck. And so this is a chance for you to also take some additional action. So number one is to DIY your job hunt with the Job Seeker Survival Kit. This is something that we update every single month, and there's a compilation of Albert's List videos of over 55 hours worth of content for just $27. And so what does $27 get you these days? It gets you 49 videos across finding your next job, discovering what you want, what to do once you get hired, how to use AI in your job search, and 18 different mock interviews across marketing, administrative assistance, software engineering, and product management. And so if you're looking for something that isn't too pricey, this is one way to go. I'm happy to drop the link here so that you can see that. Let's see here. Switch to this tab. And then we also do office hours as well. So if you're looking for one-on-one or one-on-many group consultations with me, this is also something that I offer for just $20 a year every other week. And so these things are incredibly inexpensive and a chance for you to break into the job search and have that chance to really have that chance to really set yourself up in a way where you feel more prepared. I also want you to watch out for our fall 2025 6-week job search boot camp. And so what is this? This is our signature event that we do 3 times a year now, where we bring in career coaches, hiring managers, recruiters to talk to you about the state of the job search and to help you through tactically in how to complete your job search. And so we're currently doing our summer 2025 boot camp right now. We just finished a week on interviewing, but we also teach you personal branding, LinkedIn, and so forth. So watch out for this in the next couple of weeks as we put in the teaser preview webinars so you can learn more. I want to encourage you to sign up for a mock interview with Albert's List. So we've done about 128 of these mock interviews since the start of the pandemic. We feature a Fortune 500 recruiter who is a non-technical recruiter, and we also feature a senior software engineer who's had a background at IBM, Walmart, and DoorDash. And so it's a chance to practice before the real thing. We can either record it or not record it or record it locally. And it's a chance for you to do a mock interview in front of a group of people who will watch you. And we believe that lessons for one is lessons for all. So we encourage you to sign up and be a part of it. If you're figuring out what it means to pick up AI skills, we do have a section of our Albert's List content that is focused on AI. So we have webinars on July 20th, 29th, 30th, and the 6th on where you can learn AI skills, including how to prompt a website doing Replit, how you can save 10 hours of work with context AI engineering, build a consulting side hustle, and so much more. And so this QR code takes you to our Eventbrite page where you can just see those webinars directly. For those of you who are in the San Francisco Bay Area or want to be perhaps because maybe you're taking a vacation, okay, the AI code is deactivated. Okay, thank you. For those of you who are in the San Francisco Bay Area and want to join us in person, or maybe you're for vacation, I encourage you to network with us at our upcoming Albert's List Mixer in San Jose. You can get 20% off with code A-List. And what we're doing is we're doing an in-person networking event because meeting people in person these days is incredibly powerful and incredibly important. And so um, we're going to be catering a Vietnamese dinner for you from Jason Hung Tran, who owns Pho This Way, and you'll be able to eat food on Albert's List with your ticket. And so that's a chance for you to network with many members of our community. And then finally, I want you to be informed on the state of the job market. So this is our monthly webinar that we do for free with Dr. Riley White, who is a professor of finance at the University of New Mexico. And so in this monthly webinar, we learn about the trends that are moving the job market, including inflation, recession fears, tariffs, and questions that you have as well. So if you think about it, it's a 1.5 hour MBA course where you can learn the economics that you didn't learn in school because in school you were learning very theoretical supply and demand charts, and here you are learning very real things. And so we have 40 RSVPs for our July webinar so far, and so we look forward to having you there. I'm going to jump to the next slide after this. I invite you to stay in touch before I go into our ChatGPT demo. Um, and what I want you to do is I want you to connect with me on LinkedIn, join our Facebook group, and or subscribe to our YouTube channel. So both of these and all of these will give you a chance to get to know us a little bit better, and also continuing receiving our communications because we do so much job search content every single month. And so I want you to I want you to be abreast of what's going on, and I want you to be in your best career shape possible in AI, side hustles, and job searches. And so that's going to help you be the most prepared that you can be to take on the economy that we are in. Okay, so I'm going to unshare my screen and then I'm going to reshare my screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a ChatGPT demo. Um, what is important about this is that ChatGPT is here and here to stay along with a lot of other AI tools and technologies. And one thing that I've discovered is that AI is very powerful when it comes to your ability to conduct a job search. I know that many of you said, yes, Dr. White is very funny and very brilliant. One thing that I have discovered is that it used to take a long time to conduct your job search. I know for me, it used to be a 2 to 3 week process, and you'd be doing everything from thinking through your interview questions to the company that you want to work for, to the salary that you want to make, and you have to prepare for all these things along the way. And so with ChatGPT, you can make your job search go a lot quicker. And so I've created my own custom GPT over the last couple of months called the Albert Career Coach Wizard. And this is specific to my job search. But if you're somebody who's doing this for the very first time, what you can do is you can add your own resume into this job search. And what you can do is you can also, and you can, let me see, does that add? Okay, no, it doesn't add. So let me see here. I am going to search for my resume manually. And I am going to, oh my. Okay, so this is my resume into here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask ChatGPT and I'm going to pretend today that I've been laid off from my job. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit here too. So ChatGPT, I was let go from my job today. Here is my resume. I'd like you to act as if you were a career strategist and help me plan out my job search. Okay. So what you're doing is you're asking ChatGPT to act as if it was a career strategist and give you the next 7 days to a couple of months of priorities that you're going to undertake. And so in this case, it's telling you to figure out, it's saying these are the primary roles that you can look at, secondary roles, um, and then you can update your LinkedIn and your resume. You can build your job search engine. And then over the next 30 days, it's networking, LinkedIn content, building a portfolio, and developing your star stories along the way. If you're long-term unemployed, then you're looking at fractional consulting or further monetizing Albert's List in my case, and upskilling in different areas along the way. And so ChatGPT might ask you, depending on what yours look like, the next steps that you want to do, right? So maybe you can ask it to rewrite your resume, optimize your LinkedIn profile, create an action plan, or even more beyond that. So, yep, sure. And I will go ahead and copy and paste my prompt one by one here. And so what you're going to do, depending on where you are, is I am early in my job search. Please rewrite my resume and make it strong so it can command attention. And so here's another prompt. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And so it's going to give me a rewrite of what I just uploaded. And this is the resume that's in the Gumroad that you have as well. And so what you can do there is you have to still review this, but basically look at what it is that um, that it's edited and make sure that it's correct. So this resume is now updated. Yep. And it's going to tell you what it feels like it's stronger. And you can go from here and do your custom LinkedIn and about section. So maybe you can say, okay, now let's build my personal brand for this job search. Um, Help me figure out my unique value proposition that I can use across my LinkedIn, X profile, blogs, and how I introduce myself at networking events. Okay. Yeah, so this is a paid version of ChatGPT. I encourage you all to buy ChatGPT. I don't get paid for saying that. I only say it because it will help you significantly accelerate your job search. If there's somebody's ChatGPT that you can borrow, then do that as well. So it's now building my personal brand, and it's synthesized a lot of stuff from my own existing resume. And you can basically declare whether this is it or whether you can say that you want something else. So you can go from there, right? And so, okay, now that all of this stuff is done, it wants to help you with your LinkedIn headline, your networking intros, your 30-day personal branding calendar, etc. Um, Okay, well, cool, Cyril. I am here to, and actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share this prompt in the chat before this webinar ends, so that you can take this example and adapt it for yourself. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to say, I am looking for remote and hybrid jobs in the San Francisco Bay Area in the area of product marketing, content marketing, and sales enablement. Um, in a table, share with me where I should work. Column A, company name, column B, company location, column C, employees, column D, product sold, column E, open role, column F, why I am a good fit. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're going to go ahead and copy this prompt over. And so the reason why I want it this way is because I want to see in an organized manner who's hiring for what potentially. And if you want to connect to the web for this, this will make it easier too. But yeah, let's see it this way, right? So company name, location, employees, products sold, open role, why you're a great fit. So Atlassian, Coinbase, Capital One, Sentry, Metronome, Snorkel AI. So these are all companies that ChatGPT has identified that would be good fits based on your resume. And um, it will recommend next steps for you. ChatGPT always acts like that. And so that always is really, really great. So you have your companies, you have your personal brand, you have your resume, and I'd say it hasn't really even been 10 minutes yet. But at some point here, right, you've been doing your job search fairly quickly. And so you're saying, okay, fantastic. I would love to see if I can get an in at these companies. Show me what networking events in the San Francisco Bay Area are available for me to attend in the next 3 weeks where I can meet people at these types of companies. Um, and I'm going to have it search the web. I'm going to say column A, event title, column B, date, time, and location, column C, cost to attend, column D, a link to register. And there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and I'm going to paste that. And it's going to tell me, right? There are lots of different events that it's discovered via Eventbrite, Meetup, and so forth. Um, and so what you can do is you can probably look these up on its own. Of course, you can also click on this and go to it as well. Um, and so these are events focused on AI. They're free to attend. And maybe if they cost something, they might mention that as well. We have a question from Christy. Is this searching across all job and company sites to provide you with the information? Can you add the source to and when the position was posted? How will you know if ghost positions are included? So, to answer all of this, it is searching across job and company sites that are relevant to you. So, I happen to be a product marketer, but if you're working in something else, it's going to customize that response to you. You can also tell it to give you the source of where it is by turning on the web feature, or it might already include some of these things like it has here. So, right, for the question where it said the companies that are hiring, it's telling me where I should look. So, because I'm a product marketing person, it knows to look for product marketing. And so this one's as recent as June 27th, 2025. We have something from February of this year, so that might be a little bit late. And then there's a lot of like LinkedIn related content here. So if you're wondering, it's all here. And I don't think it can tell me whether there are any ghost positions included, but let's ask it. So I am afraid and annoyed that I might be applying for ghost jobs. Can you help identify companies that are notorious for posting ghost jobs so I can avoid them? Okay, so that's this prompt here. Companies frequently flagged. So ResMed, Crocs, Luminata, and it's citing Reddit here. So you can go and look for that source here as well. Um, yeah. Okay, cool. So the next thing, so it's going to tell you if it's open for 60 days, be cautious, cross-check on the company website, look for repetition, prioritize LinkedIn verified roles. and avoid these kinds of companies, and then look at these tracking sheets and so forth. So, all right, so that's job search. The next thing that we were going to want to do is we're going to want to treat ChatGPT as an interviewing tool. So I'm going to say I have decided to apply to a product marketing manager job at Atlassian. And I don't know if a job exists, but let's say one hypothetically exists. Act as if you are the hiring manager for the job and help me prepare for the interview. And I should say, act as if you are a career coach. And so, what you can do after here is you're going to paste the job description, but you don't necessarily have to. Um, I'm gonna say use a generic job description, and let's prepare the using the top 15 most common product marketing questions. Column A, the question type. And so this is where we go back, right? We want STAR questions, hypothetical, uh, personality, fact-based, tricky questions. Column B, the question itself. Column C, um, where I can answer the question from my resume because the resume is in there. Column D, the verbal answer I should give. And column E, why this answer fits. Be honest as to why and be brutally honest. Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this as well. And we're going to go ahead and put this here, right? And so why do we do this? Because we like being organized. And for those of you who might have OCD, it's a great chance for you to put everything in a nice, neat table. So now we see star question. Tell me about a time when you launched an AI product. This is where it matches on the resume. And then this is where the sample answer lies. Of course, I haven't done 500 MQLs within 6 months, so I'm going to have to edit and modify this as things go through. And so I might have to find something new there. And if I wanted to, I can say, regarding the first question, let's make some edits. And you're going to make some edits and you're going to have it say what you need to say. Uh, you also have, let's see, open-ended. What product is marketed poorly? Zoom Phone is marketed underwhelmingly. Its unified communication story is drowned by competing features. I'd simplify messaging to highlight core communication value for hybrid teams. Let's see. Tricky question. Explain Atlassian to a 5-year-old. Familiarity from prep. That would be the resume match. So it would be, it's like helping teams share Lego instructions, a way for grown-ups to work together without losing pieces or ideas. Um, Hypothetical, how will PMM support product-led growth? Launch examples. And so all of these sort of things show you that you're thinking along, right? And so what you can do is you can take these into you can download these as a PDF and then go to the beach with them and then practice. Or you can edit them in line and then really create an interview prep document that fits your background. Then the next thing you can do is, okay, now I want you to act as if you were the interviewer for this Atlassian PMM job. Ask me one question at a time and give me feedback after each question for where I can improve, right? And so now that you're there, we're going to go ahead and copy and paste this. So tell me about a time when you launched an AI-driven product. What was your role? What challenges did you face, and what was the outcome? So I'm going to type something super quickly here. I'm going to say I assisted in the launch of SaaS via Copilot. I was the product marketing manager responsible for marketing and developing assets slash documentation that would go into the market. I was also for responsible for sales enablement, blog content, and um, launching at a conference. I faced R&D challenges as they delayed launch and had to find ways to keep the fires warm. Ultimately, we launched and had 500 attendees on a launch webinar and uh, got about 100K in MQLs. So that's the answer. I'm not going to paste it because every answer is different. But what ChatGPT is basically going to do is it's going to give you strengths of the answer, where you can improve, and it's going to give you a refined version of that answer. And so this is how you can use ChatGPT to help you prep for your career, for your job search. And I'm going to go ahead and paste this link into the chat here. And basically, what we did over the last 20 minutes, starting from about 5:45 to 6:05 local time in my area, is we used ChatGPT to plan out our job search and really get clarity on who we are and what we're doing. You, of course, at the end of the day, need to take this all in, but at the very end of the day, this reduces your time of having to prepare your job search from 1 month to just about 20 to 30 minutes. Now, of course, it's going to take you longer because you need to make clearer answers and you need to approve what's going on here. But your ability to use AI is going to help you get into the market faster. And so, with all of that said, I'm not going to do salary negotiation because most folks aren't there yet. But you can also use this for salary negotiation. You can also use this for networking. And so I encourage you to use this and really be powerful as you embark on your job search. And so with that, I want to thank you all for your time today. Does anybody have any questions? I'll take a question or two before I conclude. If this was helpful, please hit thumbs up, the heart button. If it wasn't, feel free to flame me in the webinar chat. Let me know that it was useless. Either way, I would love to know. And I'm getting a lot of really great reactions. So it sounds like you all got what you came for, I hope. All right, wonderful. I'm glad that this was all helpful to all of you. What is the advantage of a custom GPT? So the advantage of a custom GPT is that it allows for consistency in how you do your work. So you don't have to declare things newly again, and instead you can work with what already exists. So in this case, right, I have my career coach. I have written how I want this career coach to act. I've done some custom conversation starters, and the foundation of this is my resume, my LinkedIn profile, and 3 writing samples. And so anytime I want to come in here, I can always update the content, but I can also use it to help me prep for, say, a product marketing interview. So we can do the same exact exercise right here as well. Yeah. So it's going to do all of this and it's going to add all of this in and really address the complexities of what you end up seeing. So I'm not going to read through all this. This is very, very custom to my career. Um, I don't actually have one of those right now, Fontella. I'm thinking about how I might turn that into its own course and then, do a webinar around it. But you're definitely jogging my mind on how it should work and how to stay organized. So I think I might just put one together then for the month of August. All right. So does anyone else have any other questions? I want to be here to help you all along the way because I know how tough of a job search it is. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Holly. I hope to see you all inside of Albert's List. I hope to see you downloading my resume assets and coming to our events here in the future. Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, no, I learned something new about ChatGPT every single day. And it is amazing what this tool can do for you and how you can reduce your job search from a month to 30 minutes. Okay, yes, please do. I would love to talk to you. Cool. All right, so if nobody else has any questions, I want to thank you again. We have our big LinkedIn webinar tomorrow. I hope to see many of you there as we continue to help you on your job search journey. And we will do a future ChatGPT webinar in the future. I'm going to set it now that all of you are asking for it. Yes, the recording is available on our YouTube channel. So yeah, do that. Uh, I heard that it's not best to upload private information, including a resume to ChatGPT or other AI platforms, unless you have a subscription for privacy reasons. I mean, look, if privacy is an issue, then absolutely be careful. I would say that um, I would say that even with a subscription, my information is not safe, but I think it's worth the risk of it all. So yeah. All right. Thank you all so much. We will see you for more events in addition to this. I look forward to helping you out, and it is always a privilege, and we will see you all very soon. Have a wonderful evening and chat with you soon.